this month, March, is to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And St. Patrick's Day has been associated with leprechauns and elementals, as well as St. Patrick. And I want to celebrate my life with elementals and leprechauns and set the record straight about St. Patrick and how he and elementals got their history confused. First of all, St. Patrick, he was born to a very Roman, wealthy family, Roman British family in Britain in the 5th century. And he was kidnapped, taken to Ireland. He escaped. He went back after living in Ireland for some time, some years, went back to Roman Britain, and he became a priest. And this was in his family also to become religious. And he decided he would return to Ireland to convert the pagans. Well, the pagans at that time all believed in elementals and leprechauns and the Druids, who worked with the trees and nature and had this deep healing history and scholastic history as well, passed down through generations and generations, hundreds of years in oral tradition. They became the enemies, as far as St. Patrick was concerned, of Christianity and the Christ. So Patrick decided to get rid of the pagan tradition. That meant getting rid of not only the Druids, but also elementals. And this became a story associated with St. Patrick about getting the snakes out of Ireland. Well, there were no snakes in Ireland, so this was a metaphor for getting rid of all the evil things that the Druids and the elementals were associated with. And it's funny, in a way, that the Irish adopted the shamrock, which is a symbol of the elementals, for St. Patrick's Day. And one of the traditions that goes along with St. Patrick's Day is that you put a shamrock in the bottom of a drink glass, either a whiskey or a Guinness, something like this, and then you drink it up, and you can even eat the shamrock. And this eating of the shamrock, the digesting of the shamrock, has got to do once again with the elimination of this other tradition. And it's very, very strange because St. Patrick's Day falls during Lent. And Lent people were not supposed to do parties. They weren't supposed to be drinking alcohol, having sex. And yet, when people have St. Patrick's Day, they get a day off, and they can drink, and they can drink a lot, and they can party and do all these things which you weren't supposed to do during Lent. So it's a return to the pagan tradition. And right now, what's happening in the world is we are moving away from a fundamentalist view of Christianity, which is basically Christianity or nothing, to embrace also what used to be called pagan tradition of all the wonderful beings that we share this world with, the unseen beings, not just the angelic Christed beings, but also the nature beings who build this beautiful earth and the fire and the mountains and the water. And this is what the leprechauns symbolize. And my life has been dedicated for 3 decades now to reinstating the importance of leprechauns and elementals, which include gnomes and goblins and trolls and elves, and reinstating their importance as guardians of the earth and as creators with spirit on the earth. And I find it interesting that although St. Patrick became the patron saint of Ireland, and I think that was in the 1700s that actually happened, that recently Ireland has also adopted St. Bridget as another patron saint. And St. Bridget, according to tradition, knew St. Patrick, and her mother was converted from pagan tradition by St. Patrick, and that Bridget herself was a slave, unlike the wealthy St. Patrick and his family. But the slave, as a slave, she and her mother were slaves to a druid, and that the druid recognized her spiritual nature and freed her. So when we're talking about Bridget, Bridget is a goddess associated with the milk and cows. She's associated with midwifery, with the arts, and she's associated with nature. So when you bring into Ireland St. Bridget as well as St. Patrick, you have the male and the female, the yin and the yang, the spirit and the nature tradition. And I think that this is much more embracing of where we need to go at this particular time in our evolution. And so bringing back the celebration of elementals and the leprechauns and associated with St. Bridget, I think is a very important way to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Now, although Lloyd, my leprechaun friend, certainly is not a friend of St. Patrick, what he does like is the idea of good crack. And the Irish, when they talk about crack, they mean to have fun. And that was the tradition of St. Patrick's Day, to have that day off of Lent where you could go drinking, you could socialize, you'd have lots of music, and it was good crack. And so the elementals have always infiltrated this Christian tradition of St. Patrick. And it's wonderful that today we can celebrate a new way of going forward in our world, bringing together the Christian tradition, the pagan tradition, and seeing how holding hands with humanity and the elementals, we can co-create a beautiful world on this beautiful planet that we have. So once again, I want to thank Lloyd for the wonderful journey that he and I have been on for 3 decades, writing so many books around elementals and their importance and how they want to partner with humans, and how he has worked so diligently going around the world, finding elementals that want to partner with humans and to co-create with them again, as it happened hundreds of years ago when we honored the nature and the beings of nature who were creating this wonderful world. So thanks, Lloyd. And on St. Patrick's Day, I'm going to have a glass of Guinness And I may even put a shamrock in the bottom of it. I'm saying in the bottle of it, ooh, maybe, and drink to you.